It's time for our monthly look at the state of the rural real estate market with the GM of real estate for PGG Rights, and his name is Peter Newbold. How much is your farm worth? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not worth as much as the lifestyle market. Peter Newbold, I can't believe this. Lifestyle sales have gone from 6 billion up to nearly 9 billion. It's worth about 2 or 3 times as much as farm sales in this country.
Yeah, look, it's amazing when you annualise it out, and if you look at the rural market, we've sort of come up $1 billion since June, but it's only sitting at sort of roughly 3.3, and we're still well below, the peak in 2017 of 3.7 and 2014 of 4.5. So, and then when you look at lifestyle, it's gone up about 3 billion. So, yeah, there's a lot of room left, I think, in the rural market, and I think we're going to see over the next 1 to 3 years just steady growth in that market. And when you add all the other bits and pieces into it, I think it's looking good after being in the trough for probably 3 or 4 years.
So people are looking for places to put their money. They're not travelling overseas. Buying a residential property at the moment and anywhere in the country is not for the faint-hearted. They're getting more expensive by the day. Do you think some of those investors, institutional investors even will move over to the rural market? Because I know there's a lot of syndication going on. There has been for quite a while, but do you see more of that happening?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of new entrants, players that haven't been involved before, whether they're groups of individuals or just mums and dads who are saying, hey, rural has got a good future, let's invest in it. So we're seeing, I haven't seen it in my time, as many from that sector coming into it. And when you look at it, there's a good future. So, yeah, it's heading in the right direction. And if you go back to the sort of residential and lifestyle, there's been huge growth. And you've just got to wonder, we're coming into winter, probably think things are going to just sort of slow a little bit. And maybe some of the values are going to take a break. But, when you've made 20% over the last X period, what's small change in 5, dropping by 5%?
So when it comes to the varying sectors in real estate, which is going the best at the moment? Because dairy's kind of been in the doldrums, but yet it's got near record returns at the moment. We know there's a lot of interest in horticulture, and sheep and beef just keeps chugging along.
Yeah, well, sheep and beef is just steady, and I think the biggest issue there is probably listings, not getting enough. And the other thing I think your listeners need to be aware of is those key spring-autumn listing periods are probably disappearing a bit, and it's becoming more all-round activity. If you go to dairy, it's probably the first time in a long while we're seeing activity. A lot of it is in the lower end, or lower values, I should say, and some older listings. But, we've seen threefold increases in some of our key regions there. So things are definitely on the up for that. And I think that will continue. We are seeing more funds available, being made available in that sector. So, look, things are looking good for dairy.
So you're saying the banks are coming to the party now?
Yeah, we're seeing that. And I guess if you look at the whole rural scene, you'd have to say they're mad if they don't. And, a lot of farms would have paid back a lot of debt. So, it's probably good for them.
Our property of the week, we are heading to Taumarunui, and this one's being listed by a couple of your top agents, Pete Wiley and Glyn Meads, son of Pine Tree. Pinecone they used to call Glyn, or they probably still call him Pinecone.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're two characters, and they do a great job there. And again, they've been listing a lot of sheep and beef properties, and the one you're featuring at the moment is sort of west of Taumarunui. So great country out there, and if you look at the property itself, it's got good infrastructure, been well looked after, and I would say it'll be snapped up pretty quickly. Yeah,
320 hectares in the Taumarunui region. It's our PGG Rights and Property of the Week. Look at it on our website, thecountry.co.nz. Click on Rural Properties, and there it is. Hey, Peter Newbold, always good to catch up with you here on The Country. We'll chat again next month, and onwards and upwards for the rural real estate market, eh?
Yeah, no, it's looking really good and positive, and you have a good afternoon, Jamie.